Mikee P back on the End of Money Players podcast for Pegasus weekend, and I have Chris Cupples with me, one of the best horse players that I know to look at the Sunset Six. Chris, Pegasus weekend, I know you're heavy into contest, lots of fantastic races at Gulfstream. You have some accompanying races at Santa Anita, just for another multi-leg wager, retail only. I know you like to get involved in these bets.
Yeah, retail only is a big benefit. I look at those extra hard. This is a tough one that we're going to cover here, but if you can manage to put together the right sequence, it's going to pay well. That's for sure.
So we're going to look at the last three at Gulfstream and last three at Santa Anita. We're going to start race number 11 for Saturday. Into the meat of the card here. Last three races, grade 2 inside information, older fillies and mares. And we're sprinting 7 furlongs. Chris, pretty wide open race. I know you're skinny. You're looking to fade some of these horses coming out of that Rampart on December 26th. A lot of them prepped in there for this spot.
Yeah, I just didn't love anyone in here. Found it maybe the toughest race of the 6 that we're going to talk about. I'm going to go to the outside Grand Job as my top pick. This is a horse that I've liked a long time. You know, had a March layoff, come back, did not run very well at Churchill. Comes back here. If this mare wasn't ready, Mott wouldn't have her in here. And For Her Laugh is a horse I like when they ship to the West Coast. Is a 4-year-old facing older, but I want to give her one more shot. Maybe get save ground, tip out, and race. It's got a lot of speed. She will have to deal with Jody's Pride, who's going to look to get the same trip. And Jody's Pride is nice, but just a horse I've never really loved that stuffed me in the locker a few times, and I'm probably going to let her do it again.
Yeah, you get Pratt there on Jody's Pride. I was looking for Strangers also. I would use Her Laugh in here. I agree with that one, but I would use Jody's Pride also. Came last year, won the Ruffian there at Aqueduct, the 97 figure. You get Pratt here, you get an inside post, and you have a lot of speed for this one to chase. Certainly some class to her also. It's faced really tough ones. Horses like Ways and Means, Torpedo Anna, Simply in Front, AG Bullet, all very much grade 1 types. So that one, I do think gets a little bit of a drop in here. Has to face Indy Bay, though. She's another one that has graded stakes on her resume, and she won the Charlestown Oaks last year. I think Safi has her back. She's sprinty. Inside post would be a use. Just a horse that I might throw in as a B. And we had talked about this off air a little bit. The 6 Beyond Belief, and you said you're just not crazy about Lasix off, and I can understand that. If you look at that Monmouth line without Lasix, produced very low figure, but her last 2 at Gulfstream have been pretty nice.
Yeah, I know. I have those 2 figures slightly lower than your industry, which would mean she would need to step up again. So now that would be asking her to step up and do that without Lasix was just one that I'm going to have to see it before I use on a ticket like this.
Leg 2 of this dollar minimum retail only Sunset 6 for Saturday. Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup Turf. Another wide open race. And if you watched the Gallop Out show this week, Jackson and Ryan and they had Dick Tamaro were talking. They like program trading. Chris, I don't think you and I feel the same about this one.
I like her. My issue, or like him rather, my issue, what puts me on him is the other good horses I like have issues. They're drawn wide, or for instance, a horse that I was really looking forward to betting this weekend was One Stripe, and now Johnny V gets off, and we've got his regular jockey comes in that rode this horse previously that has never rode at Gulfstream, so it's going to be hard for me to take that one. The other horses I like are drawn wide, so I'm probably going to land on program trading from a ticket structure. If I can find a way to build tickets that work out value-wise after scratches, I would like to have Fort Washington on a ticket, even though he's drawn wide. I know he's drawn wide in this race a year ago, ran extremely well. Maybe that could happen again. And I thought, I'd like to have him, but he's drawn wide. So primarily, I'm going to be program trading and chalk out 2. I'll probably put One Stripe on a ticket just for sanity's sake.
So I was looking for the speed in the race because there's not much in here. I found it interesting that Cabo Spirit ships in for this. Now, I usually don't like West Coast courses shipping east, but I like that race last time. Was the speed, was able to get out in front and sort of gallop them to death. And if you look back, I mean, this horse has faced nice ones. It's really has always in those top turf races in California, facing horses like Johannes, formidable man at Delmarva. That horse is unbeatable over that racetrack, and this horse is always forward. I think he's going to be forward in here again. He really only has one way to go. And this turf course sometimes can lead itself to speed horses going a long way. As far as program trading, I get it. I know he's classy. But if you watch that Breeders' Cup Mile, he had a chance to follow the winner in there. And I'm not sure, Pratt sort of, kind of picked a different route. He got steadied. I just think he's going to be overbet in here. A horse at a price I think is interesting is Beach Gold. I think that one can be used. Really, no chance last time in that Wolfie's Done and Goes Cugino race. Those two were 1-2 around the racetrack. Well, Beach Gold didn't have the best of trips. He likes this racetrack. Not sure if he's as classy as these, but I think over this track, he's worth a look. And he's 15-1 morning line. And then I would probably use one, a little bit of, test score. I do think that, I know he's a 3-year-old stepping in, but he's a grade 1 winner and a horse that I do think has possibilities with the right trip. I know that maybe, others aren't as high on that one, but in a wide open race, I think he could be used. And then I think Chasing the Crown could be used also. He raced well in this race last year, finished third at 64-1. And really, again, no chance in that Fort Lauderdale on December 20th and that Wolfie's Down and Ghost race. Just another price I thought had a possibility in a race that I don't like the favorite, so I'm going to be a little spready.
Yeah, and I agree with you on a lot of the horses you mentioned. For me, not loving program trading going into looking at this race, it came down to what I think is going to happen trip-wise, and program trading is a solid horse that really the 1 mile is not what Chad wants for this horse. He wants the 1.8 miles. And now he draws inside with the best jockey when his primary, foes are going to be drawn outside wide. So I end up on the chalk in the end.
Yeah, Chad did win this race last year, so something to be said for that. Well, leg 3 of this dollar Sunset 6 for Saturday Pegasus World Cup. Another really wide open race, Chris. I mean, you have the favorite Disco Time, undefeated, draws the rail. You got Pratt, you got Brad Cox. He's shown the ability to win from off the pace and on the pace, but steps up, faces older for the first time. You have horses like Full Serrano in here, Banishing, Skippy Longstocking, Japan Street. There's just so many ways that you can go. Where did you go?
You're right on Disco Time. Fresh face, horses 5 for 5. Now faces older at a very short price. I think you put this horse on your tickets, but am I excited to bet that horse? No. To me, this is a horse that fits the unbettable category as far as all these things doing for the first time, stepping up in class, etc., at a short price. Wida Barrios in here. I can't play him. Shows up. He's at his track. Has all kind of question marks, red flags coming in here. I'm probably going to play Skippy Longstockings. So I'm going to use the 1, 5, and the 8. I like Poster as well, but I'm not sure I like the blinkers going on. That's not a move that barn's had a lot of success with. Primarily, I'm looking at Skippy and Disco Time, and I want to fade Wida Barrio and Tapestry.
Lots of speed in here, right? I mean, you have horses like Madaket Road stretching out. You have horses that want to be up close, like Full Serrano. British Isles, I think, is probably going to go. Skippy can be involved in the pace. I just think that, Captain Cook, another one stretching out. A horse like Mika in here that's been has been leading in the last 3 spots, leading by a wide margin, a little bit of a stretch out for that one too. And you got Wida Barrio. He certainly can be forward at times. There's just so much speed in the race. I'm going to try Banishing. He's 20-1 morning line, and I do think he stretches back out. He's just very versatile. He's very grindy. He could get the right trip for me, and he's capable at this distance. I mean, if you look, last year he won that, the Charlestown Classic going a mile and 1/8. He has some pretty nice races at Oaklawn going this distance. I know that he can sprint, but he can route also, and I just think that he's a price in this race that I'm interested in coming out of that last race where, Roll-On Big Joe's a really nice sprinter. There's no disgrace losing that race. They threw this horse in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He's not a grade 1 type sprinter, but I do think that he's capable versus this group, especially when you have a horse like Disco Time that's 8-5 morning line that certainly needs to prove it. I would probably use Disco Time. I do think that he has possibilities on the upswing there, and he can win from off the pace. Pratt is going to take him off and sort of make that one move. And then if you're looking for a speed horse, I would probably try Mika. I mean, it's Maker, comes out of that Bishop's Bay race. I know that he probably needs to improve, but his last two figures are really sharp. And the fact that they're in here, he could be the speed of the speed. He could need track down. He's just another one that I don't want the White Abarios in here. I really am not crazy about Poster, Japan Street, Skippy. I just think that all of those are just okay. Full Serrano. I'm looking for alternatives. And so I'm going to land on Vanishing, use a little 1, use a little 10 in here. But again, another wide open edition of the Pegasus World Cup. Chris, anything else in there? You ready to move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Go to Santa Anita then, and you have to, look to the last 3 races there. They're running a little bit later at Gulfstream, so the last 3 at Santa Anita come up quick. 6:34 Eastern time here for race. The last 3 races at Santa Anita at 7, 8, and 9. We're going to the grass here, and it's a condition allowance. Mound at 8th, Chris. And looking at this race, I thought you could use a couple in here. I went just 2 obvious ones here. The 7, Take a Breath, 4-1 morning line. Just raced okay in the American Oaks from off the pace. It gets a little bit of a drop here, and I think can maybe outclass these horses at this distance. I did think that the 5 was a use also. Willa T, just no chance last time whatsoever. That race on January 8th, the track was playing towards front enders. This one gets Lasix back. I do think should be a little closer to the pace, and I think should have possibilities in here. And then the 10 Resolve is another one that just has been racing at higher levels. Now gets back to a 1X. I know it was 1 for 14th life, but you get Barrios here. Just another one I think fits. So I'm a little bit obvious. 7, 5, and 10. Where'd you end up?
I agree with you on the 7. I think that's the horse to beat. She had some trouble in the Del Mar Oaks, ran well, couple mile efforts, probably a little too sharp for her, and ran well enough last time in the American Oaks. I'm going to use that one primarily, and then the 6, Queen Sienna, does need some pace to run into. And she's been kind of too far back, closing into moderate paces, just looks to be crying out for more ground. And I just think the 2 prior races, she really had no shot with the setups and the distance. And then I'll mention one more that's a crazy horse, the 9, Crazy Cammy. Had one workout note on this horse from July of 2023. And all my note says is she went average, tall, leggy filly, turf route, ? And then if you look, she turf sprinted once, and then her only turf route try was at Aqueduct on this, oddball November track that really just kind of everybody runs around in a circle. So I might throw her on some tickets just in case, just one of these odd notes I have.
An interesting look there. That would certainly blow up the pick six. Get you plenty of separation there if the 9 should happen to win on that race number 7 at Santa Anita on Saturday. Well, graded stake here in race number 8 from Santa Anita on Saturday. Grade 3 La Cañada Stakes here. It's, again, fillies and mares sprinting. You have the Bafferts in here. And Chris, we were talking off air, and I said that I like the horse. This is a race that I do like, and I like number 5, Nafisa, in here. I just think that this one is the best of the Bafferts. I like the last 2 races. Got to the dirt and was much better. Was able to control that race on January the 9th. Now steps up in here, but the ones that are stepping down from those graded stakes are just not that impressive to me. I think that she controls this race again. I think she could be by herself. She's improving for Baffert. Speed, Kimura knows her. I think she dominates this race and wins again. Do you like her, or you prefer somebody else?
Well, and just for the people watching, when you said you liked a horse in there, you didn't tell me who it was till right now, and that's the same horse I'm on. Mm-hmm. I'm going to single her. Not a strong play. I don't think this is exactly a stellar group by any means.
Right.
But she started on the dirt, ran 4 times before Baffert kind of said, okay, we got to try something different. Then she went to the turf, went 0 for 12. Then goes back to the dirt with Kimura on, wins 2 in a row, kind of the light bulb angle. The other Baffert, what I don't like about that horse is the one dirt trial, they immediately went to the turf. Then they took the blinkers off, back to the dirt. They're just reaching and trying to find something. Now the blinkers go back on. It's just not a horse I want to play at a short price for Hernandez. On there, definitely going to be the shorter of the two. I think going to get value on the piece. I'm going to win bet this horse and single in this ticket.
And there's just no speed in this race either. I mean, she has a huge pace advantage in this race, and the rest of them want to plod along. She's going to get out there by herself again and gallop them into the ground. And I think the mile on the dirt may be her cup of tea. They paid $1.8 million for her, so she was meant to be a good one. Well, maybe she needs to be a 5-year-old mare to get herself in the right direction. But if she's going to win a graded stakes, I do think that this is the spot for her. If she doesn't win here, who knows? But I do like her in here. Just a little too obvious. That 5-1 morning line, though, I do think is probably not happening. I could see her being around 3-1, and that would be just fine. But in this play, I do think that she's one I would like to lean on. Let's go to last, and this is the last race at Santa Anita, race number 9 for Saturday to finish out this Sunset 6. Another condition allowance. It's state breds here on the grass. They're going 6 furlongs. Chris, and honestly, I need help with this race, so how are we going to get paid?
I'm going to primarily use 2 horses. The 7 Mendelssohn Angel to me is the logical horse to use. I don't think 6-1 is really going to be in the cards. You'll probably be a little shorter than that. Started out her career 5 furlong, turf sprint, Del Mar, had trouble that second time. Then came here to Santa Anita, going the distance room today. Had a little bit of trouble that day, still won. Tried to stretch out. That didn't work. I don't know why Hernandez didn't ride this horse back, but that's neither here nor there. I'm sure he knows something I don't, and he'll probably beat me here. The 4 Crystal Queen's the other one I want to use. Tries the turf for the first time. I watched the work December 7th and January 11th. I'm sorry, was kind of a target for Super Corridor. Just held very hard the whole time. Super Corridor got to her. She didn't run with her, obviously, but this filly looked like a turf sprinter, the way she was built, the way she moved, everything about her. I want to use them 2 primarily, and my lone B would be the one, and that is the horse Hernandez gets on, I believe, yes. Swapping back to the turf for a new barn. Andy Mathis claim wins on the dirt, now goes to the turf where she's already ran some. Would have to improve off her previous turf efforts, but there's obvious reasons to do that.
Yeah, and I had a hard time with this race. The only horse I'll mention that you didn't here is the 6 Fancy Facts. This is a horse that has a win going 5 on the grass. That was second time out. Has been speedy every single time. Certainly does sort of get tired in some of these races, but that was an open race last time. This is back to state breds here. There's not a ton of speed in this race, honestly. And when you have a race where you don't have a load of speed, I want the quickest one, and she's going to be the quickest horse in this race. Now, will be the life and death to hold on, most likely, and has to go that additional furlong, and that could be a problem, but we'll see. Maybe she'll get enough separation. I would probably use a couple of Chris's ideas there to finish out the pick 6. Well, Chris, these Sunset 6s, we got the retail only, we got the dollar minimum, we have the 2 different race tracks. It's a huge weekend for First Racing. We do appreciate their sponsorship, but again, plenty of ways to go for Saturday. Hopefully this is a ticket that maybe we could try to jump into and maybe to cash in the end.
Yeah, especially the retail only. If you play multis, you have to be in these retail only bets.
Well, this has been a production of In the Money Media. Certainly look for some of the other shows on the network. I know that Pete has Randy Moss with some Pegasus ideas, so definitely check him out for the weekend. And we appreciate him coming on. Look at that Gallopod show with Nick Tamaro. We have some plus shows. If you're interested, go to inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. Lots of carryovers abound. So enjoy Pegasus weekend. Thanks, Chris, and we'll see you all next time.